Thank you for watching this Dear Systems tutorial. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the Purchase Credit Note function. A credit note is considered a negative invoice and can be used to amend an existing authorized invoice in the system. There are 4 scenarios covered by a credit note. The first is when the unit price has been overcharged. The second is when part of the shipment has been short shipped or you've received damaged goods. The third is when an entire shipment has been received or shipped incorrectly. And the fourth is when a discount is applied to the whole order in retrospect. Let's take a look at these in some detail. To apply a credit note, you must first go to the purchases and select the purchase order that has been billed. Here, you can view the order, stock received and invoice information before navigating to the credit note tab. You'll need to enter a credit note number and credit note date as specified by your supplier. In the first scenario, we'll look at when an item has been overcharged. As before, you can add an item line by line or copy them across from the invoice. In the first case, let's imagine that this first item has been overcharged by $10. You'll essentially need to create a credit note for the difference between what you've been charged and what the item should have been. In this case, if the original price was meant to be $10 and you've been charged $60, the difference would be $50. Remove any items from the credit note that have been correctly received, and then you can authorize the credit note. You'll be prompted to unstock the items. As this credit note reflects a change in price rather than physically removing the stock from your inventory, the product line can be removed from the Unstock tab, and then you can authorize to finalize the credit note. For the second scenario, in the case of being short shipped or when you've received damaged goods, copy the items across from the invoice. In this case, let's say that this item has had units with issues. 8 of the items were received correctly and 2 were damaged. The damaged quantity is the value you need to enter into the credit note. Remove any items from the credit note that were correctly received, and then you can authorize the credit note. You'll be prompted to authorize the unstock action for the incorrectly received items. And selecting Authorize will remove the damaged stock from your inventory. In the third scenario, we'll be credited for the entire shipment, as it was received or shipped incorrectly. As before, copy the items across from the order, and in this case, as it's for the entire shipment, we don't need to make any changes. Authorize the credit note and authorize the unstock to complete this scenario. The fourth scenario is when the supplier offers a discount on the order after the purchase order has been completed and invoiced. In this scenario, we'll ignore the product lines and populate our discount in the additional costs section. Here, we can add an item and give it a description, which best matches the scenario. In this case, I'm going to use post-invoice discount. If the discount is a simple flat value, enter it into the price section. If instead it's a percentage discount, be sure to make your calculation of the discount value from the original invoice. Make sure that you have the correct tax rule and have chosen the correct account that the discount will be credited to. When selecting your account, keep in mind that a credit note is considered a negative invoice, so a discount line being credited to the inventory account is the same as paying less for those items. You could also assign it to an expense account and be treating it as a lowered expense. Once done, authorize the credit note. As there are no product items being credited in the system, this will require no unstock stage. And that concludes this video on Purchase Credit Notes.